Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the farm. Thank you for joining us today. It is a cold and windy afternoon, but it is sure beautiful out here. Sun coming across our pasture behind us. We are out right now checking the perimeter fence line. And the reason we're doing so, with all these winds, we really got to make sure everything is in check. Got to make sure there's no branches, got to make sure no trees are down. As I'm walking along here, fortunately our fence line is clear, but I really started to think we often overlook the impact of snow and what it can do to your charge on your fence. There's hundreds of videos out there on YouTube about planning your fencing and avoiding, wood lines where you're going to have trees and limb issues, avoiding high grass areas, making sure you're maintaining that during the summer to avoid that ground effect. But I never have really seen anything talking about snow and what snow can do to your charge. And to me, that's just, it's kind of crazy because most of the country, with the exception of a few of you guys in the South, which I really envy the fact that you don't get any snow, but most of the country is going to get some sort of snowfall. Even if it's a once a year event, there's a good chance that it's going to cover your bottom wire, being that your bottom wire is often so close to the ground. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to get a reading together, see what type of impact this snow has on our fence line. There's definitely been a few spots on my walk that have been buried. So let's get to it. We'll get a reading. And as always, guys, we'll try to give you some sort of solution as to what you can do on your farm. All right, so you can see the bottom wire there completely covered as we move to the left. And that is actually, there's only two wires exposed there, guys. So the bottom wire all the way to that fence post, as Hank is bumping my camera here. The bottom wire is all the way underground to that fence post. You also have some coverage here on the very bottom. On the other side of our gate here, man, it's windy today. The wire is completely underground there as well. As we get all this drift coming across the field here. This is a wide open field, so this is gonna continue and it's gonna pile up here as we have a little bit of elevation. So, moment of truth, let's see what we got. As always, All Sun Digital Fence Tester. Of course I'm gonna plug that one, guys. Take a look at that link in the description, but let's get a reading. All right, guys, let's see where we're at here. We are reading 2,800 volts. That is not very good. So as you can see, this experiment proves out to be true. The snow is definitely impacting this fence. We're typically reading about 8,800 on this fence, this perimeter fence, using that Cyclops. I think definitely puts out some power for us. When you take into consideration all the snow that we had and just the sheer distance that this perimeter fence actually covers, it's going to be covered here in multiple spots. This is only one small section. So of course you're going to have some sort of ground effect. Now it's the same effect that if you had a tree on it or if you had down branches on it or high grass, it's the exact same thing. So when we're planning our fencing, you guys, especially in the north, it's definitely something you want to consider. Now, unlike the other occurrences, snow you can't really control. You can obviously clean up trees, you can clean up branches and down limbs, you can mow your grass, you can string trim or weed whack your fence line. So let's talk about some solutions. Let's talk about some things you can do to mitigate the impact of this snow on your fence line. So the first thing you can do, and probably the easiest, would be simply disconnect your bottom line. Disconnect the bottom wire from your charger. That way you're not getting that ground effect. If you have deeper snow, obviously you're gonna have to maybe go to your second wire even, but disconnecting the bottom first or second wire is definitely gonna be an easier option for you. Hook your charger up to your third, and depending how many lines you have, obviously you can go from there. But that way your wire is not touching the snow, your hot wire that is, and you're gonna continue on. Your animals can kind of stay, as Hank here is bumping our camera. Your animals can stay where they're at and they're not gonna go into the snow. Most animals are not gonna go digging through the snow and then through a fence. So really no worry there. Second option would be if you have a sort of main corral or even a barn type situation, might be the time to just move them into safety until the snow kind of clears. That may not be an option depending on what type of climate you're in. You guys that are way north of us, you guys have snow pretty much all winter. we at least get a storm, and that's gone within usually about a week or two. That, you know, we're back to bare ground here. So that one's really a situational thing based on where you're living, how quickly the snow is gonna melt for you, and so forth. Now there is a third option, and to be honest with you, it's kind of what we're dealing with right here. I know that this snow is not gonna be here too long. You can already tell we got a good bit of melt. Now it did just snow a little again last night, but most of that has kind of drifted off. But we're gonna just simply let our animals put. The sheep, they have been trained very well to this electric. They don't really mess with it. So I'm not concerned that they're gonna try to get out or go through it at all. We do still have some charge. Yes, 2,900 is not great by any means, but I trust that the sheep are gonna be disciplined enough. They're trained enough to this fence that we can get away with it for a few days. Now I recognize that you are playing a little bit with fire with this option. Our sheep, I feel very confident that they're trained and they're not going to test it. I would never put pigs in this. You never put pigs in a fence without a charge. They'll be as good as gone, guys. You can probably get away with cattle. You won't get away with goats. So again, it all depends on kind of the situation, what type of animals you have. And then I guess if you really wanted to get crazy, I'll throw a fourth option out there. You really could go along the entire perimeter and either shovel or just kind of kick that snow away from the line. That would be insanity here. I mean, this is just too much of a distance to do that. But if you do have a short section of electric, hey, that's definitely a viable option. It's definitely something you can do, and you'll be right back to normal. So those are 4 options for you. I would say number 1, and the reason I said it first, number 1's definitely going to be your best. Just unhook the bottom wire or 2, depending how deep your snow is. You know, rehook those alligator clips. They work great for that type of thing. If you are working with a more permanent setup where your wire's kind of woven up and clamped onto each line, you may need to cut that, but that's going to take a lot less time than it will moving your animals or so forth. That would definitely be your best bet. Option 2, obviously, move your animals into a safe zone. Option 3, just simply leave them go. And then option 4, go through, clear out your entire fence line, clear out that last wire to make sure there's no snow touching it, and you'll be back to full charge in no time. So I hope that one helps today, guys. It's something that you just, you may not think about it a lot because snow is a seasonal thing here. Depending where you live, like I said in the beginning, it might happen once a year, but all it takes is one time for your animals to be getting out. It's always good to have a plan in advance. Think through your options. Think about what you're going to do when you do get that couple inches of snow that's going to cover that bottom fence line. So if you like what we're doing, guys, you can support our channel by clicking that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. Drop some questions and comments for us below. We'll be sure to get back to you. Spring garden season is coming, guys. So check out the links I'll put below for you on that. And thank you guys so much for watching today. It's windy, it's cold, we're going to warm up. Have a great rest of your day.